Matchmaker Monday is back. Today's episode, I kind of touched on two of the fights yesterday. We had that main event of Gilbert Burns versus Sean Brady at the weekend, so they're kind of two people I'm going to be talking about. If you know how this series works, I usually do this after a fight card, talking about the main event, and then I throw in a random matchup at the end. I do three matchups. So the first matchup is going to be Gilbert Burns versus Michael Venom Page. Gilbert Burns kind of career. I said this in the last kind of video, and some people might have thought it was harsh with this, that, and the fourth. I don't give a fuck, but his most memorable. He will be most known for losing. He will be most remembered for losing to Khamzat Chimaev in that really close fight. That's when people thought Khamzat was this unstoppable train, and he's gonna run through fucking everyone, and that's when that was kind of the talk of the town about Khamzat. And then he fought Gilbert. A former lightweight who Dan Hooker knocked out. I want to say that. And Khamzat went to a very close decision with him. Nearly lost. Nearly got finished. Got dropped, gassed out. And Gilbert's stock just went insanely high. I believe that was a fight after. So two fights after. That was the second fight after fighting Usman. And there's probably some people that fucking forget that fight even happened. That was in the Apex. Gilbert wasn't really a name. And that fight just kind of propelled Gilbert so much farther. And he's kind of taken a few losses now. Obviously, he has had wins. He did beat Neil Magny, Masvidal, Wonderboy. Gilbert has some, he's beaten Tyron Woodley, Damian Maia. Gilbert has some fucking good wins. Good fucking wins. But he was never championship material in the end. And he's definitely not going to be now, unfortunately. I do like Gilbert Burns. I think he's a fucking stud. But he's not going to ever win a belt. And I don't even think he'll get into a top 5 ever again. He's lost, I think it's 3 in a row now. Bilal Muhammad, Jack Melina, and now Sean Brady. If you're going to be going for that belt, you can't be losing to all these up-and-comers. Like Jack Della Madalena's up-and-coming. Sean Brady's up-and-coming. Bilal Muhammad, not so much. He was kind of in the top 5 for a while. But still, losing to JDM and Brady. And especially the way he's lost. He got badly finished against JDM. And I mean badly finished. And then he got fucking 50-45 against Sean Brady. And it's not looking good. It's not looking good. If you're a big Gilbert Burns fan and you're hoping he gets the belt one day, you better keep hoping, because that day is never going to come. He had his chance. He was one fight away. If he just waited to fight Bilal Muhammad, and he probably would have beat Bilal at that time, or had a good chance, but he just fucking rushed into it. Do you know what I mean? He rushed into a fight with Bilal on 3 weeks' notice after coming off 2 training camps at the start of each of the year, and then in April as well. And he just rushed it, man. And he took a year off, which did him well. But then you lose again to JDM, which was, I think, back in March or something like that, back in March, I think. And he came back in September, which was quite a quick turnaround considering he got badly KO'd. And yeah, Gilbert's got some work to do. But good matchup, I think. And one I can see by far happening is Michael Venom Page. Page has been in the MMA scene for fucking years, but he's not been in the UFC scene for years. Page was a Bellator can crusher. He just beat all the Bellator cans, and he made his way into the UFC fucking finally. Got a nice win against Kevin Holland. Fought Ian Gary and lost. Some people thought he won that fight, but Page is old as well. You know what I mean? And I don't really see Page fighting for a belt, especially with Leon not having the belt. If he had fought and beat Ian Gary, and then Leon beat Bilal, then you could definitely make that matchup next. Not definite actually, but you know what I mean? It could have been a case of if Shavkat was injured or something like that, Page could have slid in there. They could have done that in the UK, and that would have been fucking huge. But he lost. And I think this is the perfect match for Page to get back into it, because let's say he beats Gilbert. Gilbert still has a big enough name in that division where he could easily put Page 6 or 7 or something like that, and just propel him up against a good stylistic matchup. And then, if Leon gets the belt back, let him fight Page then. If Page gets a win against someone like, let's say he fights JDM as a hypothetical matchup, standing battle, or even if he fights a Wonder Boy. You know what I mean? Like they're two matchups Page could win. He could beat JDM with the diverse striking, and him versus Wonder Boy. As people seem to be really big into that fight. Like, I think that fight would be boring. Like, neither of them are like savages going forward. They're both technical strikers. That's going to be just a boring decision, probably for like Wonder Boy. Because I always say it, I don't think there's a person alive that beats Stephen Thompson in a kickboxing fight. I don't, bro. I don't think there is. Pound for pound in welterweight or any division, I don't think there's a person alive that can beat Wonder Boy in a kickboxing fight. But anyway, Page versus Gilbert, I want to see it. Page doesn't have much left in his career, so it's essential now that he gets kind of higher-ish matchups that he can win. I do kind of feel like the push for Page for the belt has kind of died down a bit since Leon lost, and especially since Page lost as well. That was a fucking huge fight if both of them had won their last fights, and I mean fucking huge. But we're probably never going to see that fight. It's going to be nowhere near as big anyway, unless they both get some win streaks and Leon gets the belt and then Page beats someone big, something like that. But yeah, next fight that was previously booked: Sean Brady versus Jack Della Maddalena. Two of the biggest kind of prospects in this division. Jack Della Maddalena, like I said, he's coming off that good win against Gilbert Burns. He beat people like Randy Brown, Kevin Holland. He's got some of the best hands I have ever fucking seen. Like Guru said, he's got nukes for hands, but the dude is really becoming into his own with his grappling and his takedown defense. And Gilbert did show he does have that kind of side to him where you know this dude's a striker. Like, do you know what I mean? Like he and especially in one fight, I remember seeing him going for gillies and shit like that, and nearly lost him the fight. But the dude still has work to do with his grappling. And I feel like that could be an issue going forward, especially with someone like a Brady, who is going to be in your face grappling the whole time. And Sean Brady has some of the best offensive wrestling I think I had in welterweight. I think he's one of the better offensive wrestlers in welterweight. I do kind of worry about his control. Now, I do think part of the fight with Gilbert was that Gilbert's very good with being able to get back up to his feet, but the problem, I feel like a lot of wrestlers that transition into MMA is that they have no fucking control time. That's something I think with wrestlers that come into MMA, like that have no kind of MMA background, not much, but they're really fucking good wrestlers. Man, I think they have no fucking control time. I genuinely think, because with the wrestling, look at fucking Cejudo is a great example. If you're like an Olympic wrestler, let's say, you're used to pinning someone and then you're resetting. What's going to happen when you're holding someone down and they're fucking elbowing you and throwing up triangles and shit? Do you know what I mean? When you get them down in normal wrestling, you pin them, you hold them down for like 2 or 3 seconds, and then that's it. They get back up. But it's such a different thing in MMA. Obviously, having a fucking insane wrestling background is going to help you a lot. But I think there is a certain style of wrestling targeted towards MMA. Like, once you get them down, and it's holding them down and being defensively sound as well. Sorry, that was a little rant I wanted to go on, but yeah, how do I think that fight goes? Originally I picked JDM, but kind of things, I wouldn't say things have changed, but there before, JDM rolling for guillotines. You cannot fucking do that against such a good wrestler like Sean Brady. I still have just as much faith in JDM's hands as I ever have. So in that fight, I can't remember the fucking dude's name, but he was landing some of the most vicious fucking combinations I have ever seen. Absolutely beautiful. The dude had an iron chin, but Gilbert did have some success within the grappling against Jack Maddalena, and I think there is opportunities Brady can capitalize on that. Brady fucking loves a good clinch control up against the cage. I think JDM is susceptible to that. It is interesting to see. I feel like this is the definition of a striker versus matchup. I remember in that first round, Gilbert got him with like a good trip as well. I just think JDM is a real striker, and I think Brady's a real wrestler. I think this is his definition of striker versus wrestler, but I also don't think Brady is as much danger on the ground as a Gilbert Burns, like a submission threat. I really don't think Brady has much on the ground. I just think he's a real control fighter, Sean Brady. I don't really see him getting many fighters out there due to his power or his offensive jiu-jitsu. Or defensive jiu-jitsu, really. I don't think Brady's ever really going to need his defensive jiu-jitsu. Brady's striking has gotten a lot better. That's one thing I have noticed, and especially in that last fight. Very quick jab, good footwork. He's placing his shots, and his striking isn't hiding his wrestling. Let's say you stuff a takedown, Brady could edge around by just landing a little bit more on the feet against you. But I really think that fight could be a boring fight. Like, I could just see Brady keeping him up against the cage, and JDM not being able to fucking, let go, or not let go, but not be able to break, and then Brady might get him down and stuff like that. But I do think Sean Brady, as much as his striking's gotten better, his defensive striking against an elite striker is going to worry me. Bilal Muhammad finished you on the feet. If Jack Della Maddalena gets you in those positions, you're going to go to sleep. And there's no two ways about it. I have no doubt in my mind. If that Sean Brady showed up against Bilal Muhammad with that level of shit fucking defensive striking, he would go down and one. And I mean one. He'd make it look easy. But yeah, that's a fight I think that could happen next. But then again, you have Ian Gary in the mix there as well. You have Leon, you have Shavkat. Shavkat's probably going to fight for the belt next. But you have Leon there, you have Ian there. You could do a fucking fatal four-way like WWE back in the day. Let them all fight each other, fight for a number 10 fight. But you know how the UFC works nowadays, you know what I mean? They're not going to do any of that. They'll wait another year before they fight anyone who isn't the champion. Because people don't like being active. And that's the shit part. But I feel like a Brady, JDM and all them, Ian Gary even, Shavkat, they're not really afraid to fight each other. But welterweight's looking promising because we have so many young contenders, and like I said, I feel like they are willing to fight each other, which is good to see. But yeah, they're the two matchups from the other one. So the bulky card, as you could say, of this series, a nice matchup I want to see, and might not happen, but I want to see a surprise to a lot of you. I'm going Dan Hooker versus Justin fucking Gaethje. I want to see this fucking fight. Dan Hooker, coming off that good win against Mateus Gamrot. Gaethje coming off that bad loss to Max Holloway back at UFC 300. I want to see this fucking fight. Dan Hooker versus Dustin Poirier is my favourite fight of all time. And I just think this is destined to be an absolute great matchup, to be quite honest with you. Hooker looks to be getting better, which is insane. It's actually insane to me because he's taken so much damage. And, well, I say he's getting better. He looked better in his last fight than he did against Jalen Turner, in my opinion. He definitely was fighting someone who's less dangerous. Obviously, Turner's more dangerous. But, yeah, I think Dan Hooker's slowly getting better. Do I think he beats Gaethje? Fuck no. I don't think he beats Gaethje. There's a few reasons why. Max Holloway is going to do a hell of a lot better at lightweight than he's going to do at featherweight. I am picking Ilya Poirier to beat Max Holloway. I think Max Holloway does a lot better at lightweight than he does against featherweights. Because there's a fucking big skill difference. Dan Hooker found that out real quick when he fought Arnold Allen. And Max Holloway is more of a lightweight than a featherweight. He looked fucking big against Gaethje, bro. He looked fucking big. I think Gaethje, a lot of people, including myself, kind of maybe... Gaethje's getting better, man. Even though he lost to Holloway, Gaethje was getting a lot better, I should say. Before he fought Holloway, he come off that Poirier KO. He beat Viziev in a striking match. And, he just looked to be getting way better. I just think Gaethje still got potential in any fucking matchup, to be quite honest with you. I still think he's one of the best lightweights in the world. I don't think a loss to Max Holloway ends your career. Obviously the KO was fucking very bad, really bad. He did take he's taken a 6-month kind of precaution where he's not going to spar or anything like that. So I do think this is a possibility. I do think so. Gaethje is obviously one of the biggest names in the UFC. Love, hate, you're watching because he's one of the most entertaining fighters in the sport. And I think him versus Dan Hooker, that's a real fan-friendly matchup because A, there's no way they're going to be in a boring fight. And B, this is a fight that makes sense within the rankings. Dan Hooker's number 5. I believe Justin Gaethje's number 3. You know, if Dan Hooker beats Gaethje, he's not far off the belt, which is fucking insane to even talk about. Insane to talk about. And I think that's a real fan-friendly matchup. I just think Gaethje would be a bit too much for him later on in the rounds. I could see Hooker having a bit of success kind of in the first round and a half. I do believe this would be a 5-rounder, and I think if it's a 5-rounder, I think Hooker would get fucking smashed. I see Hooker doing well early on, but I could see him gassing out and, you know, just Gaethje fucking shooing his leg, and because I don't think Dan Hooker is wrestling to take Gaethje down, and I don't think he has a striking defense to really keep this at a range where he's able to pick Gaethje apart with those long ass fucking limbs he has. That's what I think. I just think he'd have success early on, but I think Gaethje would take over as the fight goes on. He'd be able to find good success with his low kicks, which would leave kind of openings with overhands and even kind of body shots Gaethje likes to throw sometimes. I think he's got good footwork as well for Dan Hooker, even though Hooker came out really kind of, what do you call it, heavy on switching stances, which we never really seen. A lot of movement in the first round against Gamrot. But that slowed down. Hooker just slows down, do you know what I mean? Like, he slows down. But yeah, there's a few matchups I wanted to talk about. A little bit of a bogey one there towards the end. Will it happen? I don't really know, but that's what I really want to see. But let me know what you think in the comment below. Thanks for watching.